Is the Back on Track package different to the existing package on iAchieve? It is, it's based on the original package that you already had access to. But as I mentioned, there's a whole host of additional resources, classroom resources and revision resources that we will be uploading to the platform as well. So the Back on Track package has additional resources attached to it. It also has this exclusive community, online community as well. We'll be sending out the links to join those communities on Facebook as well. So it's similar to the original package that you've got, but with some enhancements. Can I ask how the students' Unit 2 work is sent to the EQA? Kelly, do you think you could answer that one?
Yeah, sure, that's no problem. I was just finding the unmute button. If the work itself's not actually sent to the EQA, if all being well and actual physical visits can resume, then the EQA will actually check over the work whilst at the centre. But if it is going to be a remote visit, it's generally a desktop type visit where it can be done across a platform like Teams, Zoom, you know, and you can present it. You don't actually physically send anything. It'll actually be the grades that you have come to once you've done your assessing and your internal quality assurance that you then put on to the portal. And what will then happen is the EQA will check out that work and then either bank or reject those grades. So you don't actually submit anything. You keep hold of that yourselves. Hope that answers your question.
There's another question here that perhaps you can answer as well, Kelly. Are there any courses we can go on for internal verification?
In terms of actual courses, we do offer some bespoke courses for internal verification. I can, if I take some details, look into that into a little bit more detail. You don't actually have to physically have a qualification. As I mentioned, you just need to be knowledgeable and competent and not involved in the teaching. So in some centres, particularly for the business and enterprise, it might be the finance manager that has a look over that. I know a caveat to that was, 15 years in teaching myself, I don't know whether I'd feel as comfortable letting someone who hasn't got teaching experience look at it. However, that's maybe what, that's absolutely fine if that happens in some centres. But if I can take the details, I can forward on some details if you would like a particular qualification.
Somebody else has asked, does the Synoptic project have assessment criteria? Again, I think that might be one for you, Kelly.
Yes, as both Maureen and I have mentioned, the Synoptic project covers all 5 assessment objectives, AO 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And AO 1, 2 and 3 is also covered in the exam, but all 5 are covered in the Synoptic project. And it was assessment objective 4, which has the biggest weighting at 45%, and assessment objective 5 is the completion of the learner log itself. Yeah.
When is the Synoptic deadline for grades to be entered onto the portal this year?
Okay, so we're currently working, obviously, in line with the tag process. So everyone now is, I won't go into detail about how many adaptations we've had since the start of this academic session. There's been a few, but the most current and recent update is everyone is working towards the 18th of June. That is the deadline for tag grades to be submitted at an assessment level, not a qualification level. But a lot of centres need to be aware that they need to submit a tag strategy by the 7th of May before they can start inputting tag grades onto the portal. And that can be found on the Ncfe page. At the top of the page, it says COVID-19 response. If you click in there a little bit further down the web page is the link for the actual form. It's a Microsoft form. So please don't be put off by the fact that it's 17 pages. A lot of it is tick boxes, and that will be submitted to the EQA, who will then say yes, or if it's not quite up to scratch, they will give you some advice, and then you can crack on with your learning, teaching and learning activities and assessment, and then work towards that deadline. It doesn't have to be right to the 18th. It can be before that, but the tag strategy does need to be submitted first. Okay. I hope that's answered that question.
Thanks for that, Kelly. We've also got another question here. We have students who missed the external assessment during the autumn term. Are we able to enter a tag for them?
In short, yes, absolutely. were they would have been year 10, with the year 10s? Year 11. Yeah, well, the actual tag, the qualifications that are in scope and those learners that can have access to a tag are your mid-flight learners if they would have completed an assessment in year 10, but as well for year 11. So a tag can be awarded to any learner that would have been sitting the external assessment, because obviously they've been cancelled this year, and the synoptic project. So yes, some learners may have tags for both, some learners may have a mixture. So yeah, in short, answer into your question, yes, they can be awarded a tag for the external assessment.